Hello and welcome to the Saimoe channel, your guide for all things tournament and moe. My name is Mental10 alongside Magler and Chibasa. Thank you for taking your time to listen into our podcast. Everyone, hi!
Hi.
Hi.
So for the past 2 weeks, we have been voting for seating the characters and making sure they're all in the proper location and making sure that certain characters are not eliminated when heading into the Aquamarine period. So for 2 of those dates, we have been voting for characters that we want to make sure stay in ISMO, make sure they keep on advancing, while the rest of the characters, unfortunately, will have to be eliminated and not make it to the next round. So Maglar, out of the people who have been eliminated, who are you most disappointed with? And who did you wish would have advanced to Aquamarine?
So, most disappointed, kind of sad about a lot of them, but most disappointed among those who were in the prelim would be personal case is Chiyoda Momo. However, if you talk about strengths and the recognition level, one character that I'm slightly surprised that didn't make it is Raftalia from the Tate no Yusha. And I really thought that someone like Nakano Itsuki had a pretty good chance, but she didn't make it. So that's the first character. Another character that used to make it, but was a surprise actually is Oshino Shinobu. She didn't do well in the prelim round 4, thus she didn't make it.
What about you, Chibasa? Do you have anyone that you wished made it to Aquamarine but didn't? Or are you disappointed with how certain characters did to not be able to advance to the next round?
I had a lot of characters that were eliminated in prelims, but for the one that I thought would do it just on a stress factor, I had the same one as Makler, Raftalia, Nakano Itsuki, Shinobu, and maybe Emma from Yakusoku no Neverland. Chitoge also did disappointed a bit.
Chitoge and the Kosaki, I'm surprised that they didn't both make it.
And for personal preferences, a lot of them. But I'm glad Tomoyo made it from Canada.
That was slightly a surprise how well she did.
Why were you surprised that she made it to Aquamarine?
Chocolat has been in a decline, and for some reason, if I remember the original series popularity, although the Nagisa is the main girl, Tomoyo and Fujibayashi Pyo were the 2 most popular, and they hadn't been doing well in ISML for the last couple of years. So I actually think that Tomoyo making it this year is a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, it's a comeback. I think Hibiki Euphonium girls like Keseki Nozomi or Mizore had better chances.
Yuroizaka Mizore and Hoshino Hinata, they might be cursing Aragaki Ayase and the Sento Isuzu because these 2 girls tied for the round 2. They both made it up and then they both advanced, which means one of these 2, along with Shiina Mayuri, might have actually made it to the Aquamarine if one of these 2 didn't tie and didn't make it to the round 4.
So you mentioned that Clannad was in a decline, but as far as I'm aware, Nagisa is 33rd out of 96 in her position, and according to who made it to the next round, Nagisa is the top girl among her Clannad people, which for me is a surprise because Clannad is a pretty old anime. We're talking about something that happened in 2007 and 2009 season 2, yet Nagisa is still top 36, near top 32. Is there a reason why there's such a strong staying power with these older characters?
Here are my 3 guesses. Number 1, certain part of Asia, for some reason, heavily favors so-called winner. In the anime series, because Nagisa got the boy, they kind of perceive her as the winner. And a lot of people kind of gravitate towards Nagisa for that reason. This kind of winner effect is what probably behind Chitose doing better than Kosaki. And actually, this is a very old example, but there was once we had an exhibition contest between 2 Dakapo characters. One is the Asakura Nemu and the other is Shiraka Kotori. If you survey the fandom and all the popularity polls, Shiraka Kotori was leagues, she dominates any kind of popularity poll. She was like top 10 overall in her days, while the Asakura Nemu was sometimes one of the most hated. Yet in the IMSL, Nemu won by getting twice the vote as Kotori. That might be due to that preference for the winner effect there exists among the IMSL voters. So that's the first thing that I suspect. Second thing is that if you look at this year's nomination and prelim result, a lot of KyoAni characters did very well. And KyoAni, ever since the IMS got started, our nickname for the KyoAni was KyoAni Empire, and we actually gave them a flag that kind of resembles a Nazi flag because of their nationalistic, fascist-like fervor that the supporters kind of showed to the characters. And that never really went away. So I suspect that there are a lot of KyoAni specific fans, and perhaps that got rekindled because of the KyoAni fire tragedy that happened last year. And perhaps, Clannad, got a boost from the fact that it's one of the most well-known, KyoAni series. So that's my second thing. Number 3, if you check the 2019 records, Nagisa was 8 in the nomination even back then. Even in 2019. In 2019, if you look at Sakagami Tomoyo, she was 73rd and she got knocked out. She didn't even make it to the Aquamarine because she scored so low in the nomination. So we had Nagisa staying around the entire 2019, and people tend to vote. There are some people who tend to vote for characters that they have familiar with, as in somebody whose name they saw often over somebody who haven't. So Nagisa could have benefited from the fact that she hung around so long that people kind of knew her and thought she was nice, while for other Clannad girls, not as much. And then perhaps some, Nagisa fans decided to say, oh, we did a supporter for Nagisa, so let's put Tomoyo in there. That might have happened. So that's my take.
But that doesn't explain why characters like Taiga, for example, who is from 2009, has yet to have a new series. She probably had an OVA or two, but literally that's it, and they're probably just as old. We also have characters like Mashiro, who's, I believe, 2013, and she's currently 6 out of everyone else.
In my opinion, Taiga and Mashiro is a two different story. Taiga is one of the few characters that won both the Japanese anime Saimoe contest and the Korea Best Moe contest when those two were the biggest game in the world. So that was before when we became big. So there was a time when Taiga really, really was very popular. And I'm sure that there is some lingering fans. In addition, Kugimiya Rie with her Shana series became really popular in East Asia. And Taiga was one of the tsundere characters that people found, how should I say, more bearable compared to someone like Shana, whom some people did not, found her to be a little bit too wild, while Taiga they could kind of empathize with. So I would say there are a lot of people, and nowadays you might call them elitists, those elitists who kind of consider Toradora to be one of the greatest anime ever. Yeah, I heard some elitists say that. And, those guys might be supporting, Taiga still. So I think that might be the reason why she's hanging around. Shina Mashiro, on the other hand, she's an auto qualifier. She was auto qualified in 2019, which means that she recently won Necklace. And she is somebody who always somehow finds a way to make it to top 4. And I remember that there are some ISML voters who would love to either see Mashiro win a tiara or win something more harder, which is the rainbow necklace. That is, win all 7 necklace and get the Dragon Ball or something like that. So there are some fans who love to see Mashiro do that. So I think it is those die-hard fans that is still propping up Mashiro. That is what I suspect. How about you, Chibasa?
I think most characters that are old and still around are there first because their anime marks the community. Then when they kinda showed their power on Saimoe contest, their community inside the Saimoe game can keep growing. So now if you want to join, you have to beat monsters, like Mikoto, Mashiro, or Asuna. It might be hard for newcomers to face them. Like this year, apart from Kaguya-sama characters, all the other newcomers are eliminated or disappointed for the ones that were auto-qualified. If you look at Prelim 1 results, 5 of the last 6 characters auto-qualified from last year's seasonals, and in round 3 they all were in the bottom 6 again. So Enterprise, Ishtar, Yoshida Yuko, or Fumino will probably all be eliminated in Aquamarine.
There's chance. It's possible, although who knows?
Now to join the factions, you need to be really strong from the start, or else your fans don't even believe you have chances to win. I think that's why some old series can still perform. As long as they perform, their fans keep voting every year.
So is there a reason why, let's make Fate an example. If Fate is so strong, why is Rin the top character at rank 10 and Gray is rank 18? And she's, I believe, the most recent, the fresh, the newer character as opposed to Rin, who's been around since 2006, when the original Fate Stay Night appeared.
Simply because most anime fans didn't even watch Grey anime, while everyone in the community knows Tosaka Rin. She's almost the face of Fate franchise with Saber.
I do have one more thing to add about Gray. If you look at the male side is often overlooked. However, I see some interesting name in the male side, and the most interesting name for me was the Waver Velvet. I think Waver Velvet kind of made it because of the recent anime series that prominently featured her, and that's where the Gray came up. So there is a slight chance that some of the Gray's votes were actually from the Waver Velvet fans. So that might be reason why Gray is around. However, if you talk name recognition, Rin just dominates over almost everyone else except Saber. And Saber used to be very popular. Perhaps, some of the Fate fan thinks they have given Saber enough chance, so it is now time to give someone else a chance to win the IMSL, and that might be Rin. And there is one more possibility. In the Heaven's Feel movie, Rin is still the main character. She comes up in the screen. She's probably the female character that appears the most often in the Fate Heaven's Feel movie, the 3 series, while Saber gets kind of shoved aside. So that might be the reason why it is Tosaka Rin who is the top girl in the Fate, not Saber anymore.
So you mentioned that it's mostly because of Waver that Gray was able to do as well as she should. Is there anyone else in the male division that you thought did better than you perceived that they did originally in the male side?
Yeah, because if you check the 2019, Werewolf Velvet, he was 113th in nomination. So in 2019, he only had 15 nominations. This year, if you count the nomination, he had 110. His number grew by more than 7 times this year, just in the nomination stage. And I think that the biggest reason is, being a main character of a, complete a 1/4 of anime is a humongous boost. I'm sure that a lot of people got attracted to the Waver. And if you also look at the match number 1, in the genders, although you might consider that a minority, I had 1,299 female voters, at least the voters who reported as females. And if you consider the fact that in the internet, females are usually underreporting themselves for some sad reasons, then we could say that perhaps as many as 25% of our voters are females. And if the females, happen to be ones that like, characters like, we have lots of fake characters, male characters, Archer, Gilgamesh, Waver, Emiya, man, Lance. We had 5 characters in the prelim 1, 5 male characters. Then you have to suspect that some of those, supporters of the male characters, would also look favorably on the Gray, who was a, heroine of the series for almost a quarter.
Chibasa, do you have any male characters that were eliminated that you wished made it to the next round to Aquamarine?
I had Kiriyama Rei from Sangatsu no Lion, Hinata Shoyo from Haikyuu,
That's sad. I know.
I also wanted Inuyasha to survive, and I think he made it. Yeah, he made it.
Well, he made it, but he's not gonna last long.
Probably not. Oh, I also had Heigen Arataka from Mob Psycho, who didn't made it.
Well, never say never. You know, if I remember someone, there was someone who barely made it, by one vote in the nomination, and then almost ended up winning a necklace. I think Yui also did that. And one famous example that again came up is Aragaki Ayase. If you look at Aragaki Ayase's, Saimoe history, there was once when she was, really an afterthought. She barely squeaks by into the Aquamarine period. She actually won a jury exhibition because she barely went there. And now, later on, she won a necklace.
Do you think she'll make it again this year?
Not this year.
She barely got in. She might not have the necklace, but at least
No,
the
she's not
bracelet.
eligible for jury because she won too many posters. She got a diamond necklace poster.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, in the year that she got a diamond necklace poster, I think that was when we had, Ore no Imoto season 2, or the conclusion. So that probably boosted her.
I think it was in 2015, so it was years later.
So what also happened in the preliminary period were the results of both the winter and the spring season that the voters nominated to participate in our winter or spring tournament. Is there anyone in winter, based on the results, that you feel are strong contenders for the winter diadem? Any characters that you felt were stronger than you thought they were or were weaker than you thought they were?
One character that I think can make it is Toyama Kazuha from Detective Conan, because Detective Conan is quite strong this last year with Haibara Ai leading the movement, and she did perform quite well in this first round, so she might end up winning it in the end.
Yeah, that's true. However, I was pretty impressed with Iwanaga Kotoko. She is the seed number 1, and she got 990 votes, which is 200 more than the second place, which is the Honjo Kaede Maple from the Popuri. That is a pretty dominating performance in the seeding match. So I have to consider Iwanaga Kotoko a heavy favorite. In my opinion, she's a heavy favorite for the winter.
But at the end of the day, Kotoko's not going to beat Shirogane K when we do
for the one seasonal, yeah.
or when we
It
do
would
the
be
whole
hard.
seasonals. She's going to get crushed.
Probably so. Shirogane K has too many things in her favor.
But Shirogane K might not win.
Yeah,
Maybe it will be
Miko might,
Miko.
win over because, some people might, resent the fact that there are two Shirogane that's too dominating. They might not like the fact that her brother is doing too well.
For spring, I was a bit impressed by Katarina Claes' performance. I thought only Kaguya-sama and Princess Connect would do so well, so maybe she can do something. I think the quarterfinal, probably between Kokoro and Katarina, will be interesting.
Kokoro, yeah, so Kei, Miko, Kyaru, Kokoro, yeah, these 4 really do stand out, yes. And if you consider that they're both approval format, and let's see, prelim number 6, we had, well, according to the report, we had something like 2,800, 2,900, something like that, voters. We actually had more voters in prelim 5 than prelim 6. Yet the top leaders in spring characters had more approval votes compared to the winter character, which really suggests that the spring characters are much stronger than the winter characters. According to our schedule, Winter Seasonal Championship will be on Topaz 4, and the Spring Seasonal Championship will be on Topaz 5. And on the Topaz Necklace, the winner of the winter will meet against winner of the spring. I had to stretch out the season like this. The reason for that is that in case something goes wrong, I want to make sure that the voting can continue on as we do additional vote checking. Last year, when things got really, really, hot, it really took a long time to sort through all those votes. So just in case that might happen, I deliberately scheduled in some breaks between the subsequent seasonal rounds, so I have more time to check the boats while boating can still go on. Consequence of that is that only about half the season will be completed in the aquamarine period, and the rest of it, the championships will be taking place in Topaz. And if you're interested in it, in the Topaz necklace, not only do we gonna have the spring winner versus winner, we're gonna have the tournament of the champions, the championship match in Topaz necklace as well.
Oh, that's good to know. Alright, so to finish off, Chibasa, based on the results of prelims, who is your top 16?
Mikoto, Kaguya, Yukino for sure. Asuna, Mashiro, Mai, Rika, Kurumi, Rin, Emilia, Sagiri, Chika, Hiroasu, and Yuigayama Yui, if they keep being as strong as in prelim. I'm not sure for the last one. Maybe Akiyama Miyo, Kurisu, or Chuko Misaki can be the last one. Aibara Ai, maybe, if she can perform.
What about the male side? You have a top 16 that you feel like is going to be a solid top 16?
Not that much. Maybe the actual top 16 in the seeding, mostly.
You don't think Shiro might get in as opposed to Lancer? Or maybe Saika might get a boost from the Origaru Season 2 that's happening right now in this season?
Maybe, but I'm too unsure for Malze for now.
You don't think Lelouch is going to see top 16?
I think it's possible, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Alright. What about you, Maglor? Who do you believe is going to be top 16?
On the female side, I think I have my list. It's somewhat similar. I got Misaka Mikoto, Shinomiya Kaguya, Yukinoshita Yukino, Yuki Asuna, Shina Mashiro, Sakurajima Mai, Tokisake Kurumi, Tosaka Rin, Emilia, Fujiwara Chika, Amano Hina, Hayasaka Ai. These three really impressed me in their seeding matches. I think they have a strong chance. And then after that, I have Takanashi Rika, Izumi Sagiri, Akiyama Mio, and Makise Chris. Makise Chris always somehow finds a way to hang around. So I'm going to put her as my last 16th. On the male side, I kind of agree with Chibasa. I'll go Shirogane Miyuki, Ishikami Yu, Asaka Sakuta, Levi, Hamijo Toma, Togashi Yuta, Rikudora, Kamada Tanjiro, yeah, I'll put it there. Ayano Koji Kiyotaka, yeah, he won a pendant. Natsuki Subaru, he got a new series. Tomoya with a Kyoeni. Weaver, I mentioned that. Okabe Rintaro always hangs around. Archer. And then I'll put Tachibana Taki there. This is a person who made it to the elimination period, also won a necklace and pendant. So I can't ignore him. And then the last one. That last one is incredibly tough. I see a heavy battle for the last place. The characters that I think that has a chance is Yujiro, Lelouch, Gilgamesh, he had a great showing in the Fate Grand Order. Kyon, he always hangs around. Actually, one more, Natsume Takashi. Now, not many people realize that, but the Natsume Takashi is an incredibly popular male in the anime fan lady community. The reason for saying fan lady is that compared to fangirls, they are slightly more mature. But, if you ever went there, you might find support for Natsume Takashi slightly scary, even traumatic. See some of the stuff that I saw. So last spot for the males, that's a rough one. But other than the last spot, I think those 15 will be my top 15.
All right, and that is it for our podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the Saimoe channel. Please keep in touch with the Saimoe community by following us on Facebook, on Twitter, on our main forum website, and on our Discord channel. If you are listening to us on YouTube, all information can be found in the description below. And if you are not on YouTube, you can find all the information of the links on our main website at internationalsaimoe.com in the community tab. If you are on YouTube, please give us a like and a subscribe. It goes a long way to continue to grow our community. But whatever you choose to do, stay safe and stay Saimoe. Bye!
Bye!
Bye!